The Premier League returns, Messi's new contract, Napoli seal a Coppa victory, a transfer roundup, and today's Thursday favourites all coming up in the next few minutes as I'm your host, Matt Froelich. You are the Onefootballers and this is the Daily News. So first up, the Premier League returned, the 100-day absence was over and English football was finally back on our football screens, only to, well, probably entertain people rather than actually being a good... Shut up! I'll do it again. Did it return with a bang? Not necessarily for all of the right reasons, especially if you're David Luiz, but we'll get on to that in just a second. So, the first game back, Aston Villa versus Sheffield United. Now, normally you'd think this may not be the most enticing affair or really get many people talking, but my God, for all the wrong reasons, everything it kind of went downhill. Basically, if you guys haven't seen it yet, Aston Villa conceded a goal to Sheffield United, or so they thought. Basically, an Oliver Norwood free kick was taken over the line by the Aston Villa goalkeeper, but somehow the Hawkeye system, which has got a little watch on the referee's arm, which tells them that a goal has been scored, was not working. Why? Nobody knows. Michael Oliver, the referee, apparently said that at half-time when they were in the dressing room, then his watch flashed to say that it was a goal. The reason why? Well, Hawkeye have come out and said that the mixture of the goalkeeper, the defender and the goalpost at that angle meant that it was difficult for the decision system to tell whether the ball was over the line or not, and it's something that hasn't happened in the previous 9,000 matches with this technology. I'm sorry, but there's so many screenshots where you don't even need to zoom in. Like, you could just have a very quick look and clearly see that the ball is over the line. I mean, the goalkeeper at one point is resting on the inside of the net. I mean, honestly, this has major implications. I mean, obviously, Chris Wilder and Sheffield United are absolutely, devastated, to be honest. Chris Wilder was seen berating the referee at half-time. Aston Villa, yeah, they're feeling a little bit lucky that they've got a point that could help them in the relegation fight. If you're wondering, oh, Matt, what about a VAR? Apparently, they went down the other end of the field, and because there was a free kick and then play restarted, VAR couldn't then take it back to a decision that happened before a restart in play. I think that's the official line, the official rule that was given. Who knows? It was an absolute calamity, and honestly, after waiting so long for football to return, and then we're talking about football technology again, it's a bit of a shame, to be honest. I mean, think about the ramifications. Aston Villa now have one more point than they... Okay, I'm saying they should. Who knows? If they went 1-0 down, things may have been different in the game. It's impossible to say how much that one goal would have changed things, but for the purpose of this video and for the purpose of my explanation, Aston Villa now have one more point than they should in their battle for relegation, which could see another team relegated by 1 point at the end of the season. Who knows? And Sheffield United are now down 2 points in their race for a European place. If they finish out the Champions League spots or even the Europa League spaces by 1 point, things would be completely different if they had those extra 2 after a victory over Aston Villa, but it wasn't to be. Anyway, talking of calamities, enter David Luiz. In fact, enter David Luiz in around the 15th minute of the match, and then just after half-time, having made a horrendous error, which allowed Raheem Sterling to give Manchester City the lead over Arsenal, he then pulls down Riyad Mahrez and gets sent off, and in doing so, I mean, has he literally, put the final nail in his own coffin in his career in English football? That was a shocking performance. I'd be amazed if we see him anywhere near the first team in the upcoming weeks. Not only because of his suspension, but because of that really poor display. I mean, don't get me wrong, no one at Arsenal shone last night. They were really poor. Manchester City really hit the ground running as you'd expect them to. Arsenal, yes, they did have 2 injuries in the first 20 minutes. Whether that's the effects of the break, I'm not so sure. But David Luiz just... as a Spurs fan, it was kind of funny in places, but honestly, after a while, I just kind of felt bad for him. I really thought it was such a poor performance. He's equaled the record for most penalties given away in a season, which is 4 at the moment, and the first player since 2015 to have an error conceded to a goal, give away a penalty, and get sent off in the same match. But anyway, apart from that, and don't get me wrong, losing to Manchester City, obviously you don't want to accept losing, but apart from Liverpool, there's pretty much every other team in the Premier League, all 18 other teams who don't expect too much when they go to the City of Manchester Stadium. So the last thing I want to be doing is helping them. Anyway, Raheem Sterling managed to get on the score sheet just before the break, and in the second half, De Bruyne converted the penalty and Phil Foden managed to seal the 3-0 victory. But the one sour point was Ederson coming out and absolutely clattering his own defender. So we do hope that Eric Garcia gets well soon. Anyway, aside from all of that nonsense, there was actually some good news for Barcelona and Lionel Messi fans, and that is the fact that a new contract is apparently on the table for the Argentine star. So his contract actually runs out next summer, meaning technically in January, in just like 6 months' time, he could be talking with other clubs about leaving. But this isn't just an ordinary player leaving his club, so you can see that things aren't quite so simple. Anyway, apparently the new contract on the table for Messi will go until 2023 with the option to extend for a further year. It looks like Barcelona are looking to tie him down for the rest of his top years, and then who knows, at 37 we may see him go elsewhere, maybe go for a few seasons back to Argentina. We don't really know just yet, but it is a rather interesting policy from Barcelona, who are definitely looking to the future. They're looking at life without Messi, they're looking at life without Suarez, life without Busquets, and they're signing players up the likes of De Jong. They're hoping to bring through others like Ansu Fati. So to keep Messi around for another few years, they're kind of willingly accepting that, you know what, you can continue to carry us for a few more years. If the rest of the squad get better, great, but if they don't, they're always going to have Messi to rely on. Having said that, there is no sensible team in world football that wouldn't sign him up. He's showing no signs of slowing down, so yeah, there's no ridiculous reason. You look like the biggest fools ever if you just let Messi go on a free. But away from Messi and to his arch nemesis Ronaldo, who didn't actually have the best of nights, as Napoli managed to overcome Juventus and win the Coppa Italia. Now, for those of you, whoa, hold on, Matt, you're getting absolutely mad at Ronaldo. No hate, I'm not bashing anybody. I know you guys are mad for it in the TFW comments section. Cristiano Ronaldo did not have the greatest night. In fact, Juventus overall didn't have a very good night. In fact, neither did Napoli. Wasn't the greatest game. It finished 0-0, and in the end, Arkadiusz Milik was the one who scored the penalty, which gives Napoli their first trophy in 6 seasons and the first of Gino Gattuso's career as a manager. It was also a very good day for Dries Mertens, because not only did he sign a new contract, but yeah, he picked up another piece of silverware with the club. So if it was an unusually quiet night for Ronaldo, well, his compatriot in Spain was having an absolute blast. That is, say it quietly, the next Cristiano Ronaldo. João Felix, his Portugal teammate, who had a brilliant night for Atletico Madrid as he scored 2 goals in their 5-0 rout of Osasuna, which takes them into 4th back into a Champions League spot. Anyway, moving on to the transfer roundup and all the other little bits of news that you might have missed in the last few days. And apparently in the long-running Kai Havertz transfer saga, Real Madrid appear to be the front runners at the moment, although you can expect that to change within the next 24 hours. Pedro has agreed a deal to join Roma and won't be playing again for Chelsea this season. Ryan Fraser has turned down a small extension of his contract at Bournemouth to cover the end of the season, which means he will be leaving on a free come June 30th. And lastly but not least, Lyon are prepared to take Diego Godin on after just 1 season at Inter Milan. So finally we come to Thursday favourites. This is where you guys ask me 5 of my favourites in football, and this week we've got a rather good one. So, Argaval GP has said, Matt, who are your 5 favourite Asian footballers? Now, I'm going to be honest here. Apart from the big Asian footballers who have played, you know, in the top divisions, Premier League, Bundesliga, Serie A, La Liga, haven't watched a huge amount of Asian football in my lifetime. There's only so much football I can watch, and my word, it's going to be very, very difficult to watch it all in the world. So, some of these may be a little bit biased, some of these may be a little bit recent, just from what I've learned in the last few years. But hey, that's the beauty of football. It's everyone's opinion. So, first off, I'm going for Sunil Chetri. Now, for those of you who don't know who that is, I didn't know who that was like 2 years ago. Gonna put my hands up and say, but now, I really think that he's doing amazing things for Indian football. So he's currently playing at Bengaluru FC in India and is the all-time nation's leading goal scorer. And, you know, at age 35, I'm kind of really impressed at such a long career, you know, in a country which doesn't, at the moment it does, but didn't necessarily have the most amazing infrastructure for football when he started his career, like, what was it, 18 years ago or something. In fact, he did move abroad very briefly to the MLS and to Sporting in Portugal, but never actually made a first team appearance. So, yeah, I just really rate that he's a good goal scorer and that he's really carrying the flag for Indian football. Next up, and if you thought that one was a little bit bizarre, check out this one. This is Chanatip Songkrasin from Thailand. Now, for those of you who haven't seen him play, again, this guy's relatively new to me within the last few years. He's such an exciting player to watch. He's about yay high, incredibly quick and agile with the ball, definitely carrying the flag for Thai football, which again, really doesn't have the It's not the best reputation because they're bad, they just don't necessarily have the infrastructure to put together a really, really strong team within world football. But yeah, for those of you who do watch any of the Asian qualifiers or any of the Asian Cups, you'll know that Chanatip is an absolute baller, a really good player. I'm not saying he'd make it massive in Europe, who knows, but certainly a fun and exciting player to watch. So moving into number 3, and maybe someone that you've heard of a little bit more. In fact, the last 2 definitely are. So the first one is Kazuki Honda. Japan have a long history of producing unbelievable footballers, especially free kick takers. Honda was definitely one of them. Now, he was over in Europe with Vitesse at first, then to CSKA Moscow, then to Milan. Things didn't go so well at Milan at the end, but if you ever seen him play, some of his incredible long shots, his incredible technique, and especially in the World Cup as well, he is a serious footballer. Definitely one of my favourites. Number 2, and another fantastic free kick taker, and definitely, I'm going to say, is definitely not the first Japanese player that I ever knew of, basically because he was playing at Celtic. Kazuki Nakamura. Unbelievable. That wand of a left foot. For those of you Celtic fans, you'll remember that free kick against Manchester United in the Champions League. My God. He was like 35 yards out into the top corner. Yeah, another really fun, exciting player to watch. And lastly, but not least, HeungMin's son. Yes, it is a little bit biased, but my God, is he the best Asian player that the Premier League has ever seen? He's the highest goal scorer, Asian goal scorer in the Premier League. It's probably a toss-up between HeungMin's son being an unbelievable footballer, like one of the best in his position in Europe, not the best. I'm not saying he's, Ballon d'Or level or Champions League winners level, but unbelievable footballer. Or Park Ji-sung, who wasn't necessarily the best footballer in terms of individual ability, but he did insane things for Manchester United, won an insane amount of trophies, was incredibly reliable. And yeah, you kind of don't play that many years at United without being a good footballer. For me, yeah, personally as a Spurs fan, it's HeungMin's son. I love to watch him play. He's got brilliant energy, seems like an absolutely lovely bloke, and I'll definitely go for a beer with him. So there you have it, my top 5 Asian footballers. Of course, you guys let me know yours, and don't forget, this is not the best Asian footballers. I'm just giving my opinion on my favourite 5. You give me yours in the comment section down below, as well as all your thoughts on the daily news. Whilst you're at it, you can smash the like button, click here or here to check out all of the other videos we've got going on OneFootball. But until next time, I'll see you guys later.